So, the Stranger Things finale is finally out. And while I can say that I had a big smile on my face due to the fact that it's the last episode, and the series is ending with a nice little bow on top, I can't say that this finale was perfect. Or hell, even really that good. So here are 5 things that they could fix about the Stranger Things finale to make it better. It's no secret that our characters' plan to defeat Vecna worked out a little bit too well. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I don't think there's a single thing that goes wrong with their plan. Every single point that they make goes exactly how they want it to go. And they say that this plan has a 1 in a million chance of happening and they need to try their hardest in order to make it work. But when you tell me that there's a 1 in a million chance of it happening and not a single thing goes wrong, I'm gonna start to be a little bit skeptical. I think other than the tower crashing into the abyss, nothing bad really happens to our main character. Dude, Dustin's bullies did more damage to Dustin than the Mind Flayer. Now, this is going to be a bit of a weird comparison, but I need you guys to stay with me on this one. In any sort of show where the main characters have to have a plan to defeat the big bad, I always imagine that should have the same structure as a prison break scene in a movie or show. Think about it. If you're watching a film or a show with any kind of scene that involves escaping from a facility or a prison of some kind, typically the characters will come up with a plan on how to do it. But almost immediately, something will go wrong with their plan. My nerdy ass always thinks of Guardians of the Galaxy. When they need to escape that facility, Groot takes that battery out of that socket, which was supposed to be the last part of their plan, but instead he does it first, and their plan immediately goes to shit. And therefore, it's infinitely more interesting. The audience is engaged, and it's more realistic if something goes wrong. And I understand we're talking about a series where fleshy creatures come from an alternate dimension, but I don't really think realism's the right word for this, but I think it should be grounded. I think it would be way more interesting and more compelling if our characters got a little roughed up from the Mind Flayer. After all, this is the last season, and this is the big bad that they've been hyping up for 5 seasons. So you'd think that they would at least get a little bit more damage done from the Mind Flayer. But this leads me to my next point. Now, this is a similar issue to the previous one, but this one's a little bit different. None of our characters that we actually care about die, except for 11, obviously. I mean, I guess Kali as well, but who gives a shit about Kali? But even then, I think a lot of us kind of saw those deaths coming. It's almost like the Duffer Brothers were kind of scared to kill off characters. But I think if you were going to give a character a meaningful death, the finale would have been the perfect time to do it. There definitely could have been some cool heroic moments instead of just fake-out deaths. I think Steve's fake-out was kind of ridiculous because I think it just shows how scared the Duffer Brothers are to take risks. If they want to give the audience the illusion that the characters are in danger, then they can do that, but the reality is that they don't actually want them to die. I think that's what a lot of this finale had, was fake tension. Our characters weren't in any actual danger because they weren't really presented with moments that could actually harm them. They were way too scared to kill off characters, and honestly, I wish they were a bit more risky. I'm not saying that you have to kill off characters left and right, but I think presenting our characters with more close call moments would have been great. I think the military subplot has to be one of the worst things in Stranger Things. I'm not exaggerating when I say that these motherfuckers are so incompetent. It completely baffles me how once 11 dies, they're just like, well shit, I guess our job's done here. I have no idea why they didn't even try to apprehend the other characters. 11 dies, and they just peace out and act like nothing happens. Also, I'm surprised that there's absolutely no ramifications for the military here. The military literally steal children from the parents of Hawkins, and everyone's just fine with it. The parents literally don't question it at all. Unless every single person in Hawkins has received a lobotomy, I'm pretty sure they would have some questions about this. Not to mention the fact that the military knows the Demogorgons are weak to fire, and yet the majority of them still use guns for some reason. Not to mention that Nancy literally killed a bunch of the military soldiers, and she faces 0 consequences for it. Like, bro, she killed people. And the military just like, oh yeah, no, that's fine, we're just gonna fuck off and leave. I don't know, man. They're honestly just so incompetent. And it's sort of frustrating just to watch how stupid they are. But that's not really the only frustrating thing about this series, though. Now, I wasn't exactly sure how to group these issues, so I'm kind of just throwing them all into one section. But there's a lot of unanswered questions from the finale. Like, where were the Demodogs, Demogorgons, and Demobats during the finale? How did Max graduate from school when she's been in a coma for a year? What happened to all those pregnant ladies in the Upside Down? What happened to the Turnbow family? How on earth was Kali able to survive an entire boss fight with the Mind Flayer and able to create an illusion of 11 after being shot? And what happened to Vicky? There's sort of a reason why I grouped all these issues together, because they're just all very questionable. Like, they don't exactly destroy the entire plot of the show, but they certainly are unanswered at best. It sort of feels like they just kind of forgot about a lot of these plot points, and it feels like they just didn't know how to answer them, or they just didn't have the time to. I genuinely feel like Season 5 at least needed a couple more episodes in order to answer all of this stuff, or at least give us some sort of explanation. At the end of the day, these just kind of seem like oversights in the show, and I doubt we're ever going to get proper answers to any of these. You see, in this finale, I kind of expected Will to die. Because, think about it, if Will's connected to Vecna, and Vecna's connected to the Mind Flayer, when they kill Vecna and the Mind Flayer, wouldn't Will either die or at the very least feel some sort of pain with this? This once again feels like an oversight that they just didn't really explain. If there is a valid reason, they completely forgot to explain it. And if there isn't a valid reason, then it was just a complete oversight. And you know, despite all of these issues, I still enjoyed the finale. At the end of the day, I can't really be mad while I'm watching something like this. There may be a lot of oversights and a couple of plot holes, and this may be the worst writing of the series, but at the end of the day, I don't think the finale was bad, and there are still a lot of really good qualities about it. I know people are hating on Season 5, but honestly, I still enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with Season 5, and really the whole finale too. And I think I can still get enjoyment out of something while critiquing it. And so with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.